The oral cavity histology. The oral cavity is divided into vestibule and the proper oral cavity. Let's find anatomical this structure. So, vestibule of the oral cavity is bordered with help of the lips, posterior part of the lips, gingiva and teeth. Proper oral cavity, that rest part of the oral cavity, so it's bordered with the gingiva, with posterior surface of the tooth, hard palatine, soft palatine, and the tongue. Also, you can see here palatine tonsils. Here on this heme, that's vestibule of the oral cavity, vestibule of the oral cavity, and proper oral cavity. You can see that there are a lot of structure. So let's speak about histology of some of them. Features of the structure of the mucosa of the oral cavity. First of all, epithelium is stratified squamous, non-keratinized or parakeratinized. Lamina propria has papilla. Muscularis mucosa is absent. Pay attention to it. Submucosa consists of the loose connective tissue, contains diffuse small salivary gland. So, non-keratinized or parakeratinized stratified epithelium, papilla in the lamina propria, absence of the mucosa muscularis, and small salivary glands in the submucosa. The oral cavity is lined by three types of the mucosa, that masticatory mucosa, the lining mucosa, and specialized mucosa. First one, masticatory mucosa, is found on the gingival gums and the hard palate. It contains stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. The lining mucosa is found on the lips, cheeks, alveolar mucous surface, floor of the mouth, inferior surface of the tongue, and soft palate. The epithelium of the lining mucosa is non-keratinized stratified squamous compared with previous one, keratinized epithelium, non-keratinized epithelium, but still stratified. And finally, specialized mucosa is restricted to the dorsal surface of the tongue and there contain papillar and teeth buds. That's two peculiarities of the specialized mucosa. This slide demonstrates understandable schema of all layers which we had discussed before and real histological placement. So, non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium and deep tissue. Let's give a look to it. Epithelium lining stratified, shape of the epithelial cell squamous. So there is no process of the keratinization. Superficially and intermediate layer and basal layer. Let's find all this in the histological placement. So basal lamina, violet dots that nuclei of epithelial cells. You see there are several rows, so stratified epithelium and no process of the keratinization. Lamina propria gives invagination to the epithelium lamina. P, that's papilla. We said that about it before. That loose connective tissue with all typical structure. What they can see lymphoid tissue, they can see blood vessels, and etc. In the submucosa, SM submucosa, they can see loose connective tissue and salivary glands, small salivary glands, secretory portion of the salivary glands, because muscle layer also can be seen there. And this scheme shows us organs of the oral cavity. Let's try to understand what's this. So that's the lip, that gingiva with tooth, that oral mucosa, lining mucosa, hard palate, and soft palate. They said that the gingiva and hard palate lining by masticatory mucosa, lining mucosa, that posterior part, posterior inner surface of the lip, and the inner surface of the like bottom of the oral cavity, that lining mucosa. This slide illustrates spacement lip of the baby. Why that's important? Because you have to do the scheme in your practical book. So let's analyze histological structure of it. Lip has three surfaces: that outer or skin surface, that red margin of the lip, and that oral mucosa or inner surface of the lip. Inside of the lip, they can see striated muscles, skeletal muscles, voluntary muscles. In the submucosa, that was connective tissue, as usual, that blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, nerves. In case of inner surface, can be present small salivary glands. So outer surface of the lip, that's skin, nothing unusual. That's epidermis, your hair follicles. Red margin of the lip here. So if we zoom that portion of the slide, we see this picture. Red margin of the lip has stratified squamous parakeratinized epithelium, and there are deep papilla of the lamina propria. What's interesting there? That papilla, they contains blood vessels loop. So blood vessels loop, they are close to the surface of the epithelium, and it makes red or pink color of our lips. That skin surface with epidermis, that's already a red margin of the lip with high papilla, lamina propria papilla. Oral mucosa. So if we zoom this portion of the slide, we see that epithelium stratified, squamous, non-keratinized. In the submucosa, I said already, there are small salivary gland. So spacement lip of the baby.